Quintana coming to you from the Beehive. I had the most wonderful inspiration this week when my pack of Flower Pot Designer Series paper arrived. I created a one-sheet wonder pattern to use with our note cards. I'll show you how to use one sheet of Designer Series paper to make 20 note cards, 4 each of 5 designs. How cool is that? So here is the template that I created just to show where all the pieces will go, and I will post this on my blog, but I'm also going to show you how to cut it here today. And here is the 20 note cards I created. This is just the first one. Then here is the second one, and let me find some spots for these. This one is the third one, and here is the fourth one. So all of these, there will be 4 each of these 5 designs. Isn't that cool? So let me show you how to do this. In this pack of Designer Series paper, we have this beautiful blue paper to start off with. And then the next paper that I hit was right beneath it. It was this beautiful green paper. So I thought, let's make some green cards this time, kind of using the same idea, except we're going to have a slightly more green hue to it. And so I'm going to get out my cutter, and so we're going to need the extended arm here. And I'm going to start by putting my Designer Series paper in and lining it up with the top, of course, and then with a 10-inch mark right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this, put this little piece aside, and then I'm going to turn this 90 degrees, and I'm going to cut it at the 3.5-inch mark. So find the 3.5-inch mark, make sure it's lined up at the top, and cut it. Set it aside, and now I'm going to find my 3.5-inch mark again. Now I'm going to cut it again. Okay, so now this piece that I just cut, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut it at the 5-inch mark. Okay, line it up at the 5-inch mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this one on the diagonal. So basically you just choose a point on here and the point on the opposite side, and you're going to put it along your cutting line and make sure you don't move it. And then you're going to go ahead and cut it. So that's one of the diagonal pieces. And then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing, diagonal, and cut it. Ha! I just noticed I cut one way and one the other way. That doesn't really matter because you're just going to put your greeting in a slightly different spot and your flower in a slightly different spot. So depending on how you cut these, you'll either have an angle going this way or an angle going this way, but both ways work, so don't worry. So I'll set those aside, and then I have this other sheet. This is 3.5 by 10. So I'm going to cut these ones. I'm going to cut at 2.5-inch intervals. So I'm going to line this up with the 2.5-inch mark. Cut one. Okay, so that's another thing. That's for card set number 2. Let me put that aside. And then we have this piece over here, and this one's 5 inches by 10 inches. And we're going to cut this into strips of 1.25. And we're actually going to use these 1.25-inch strips for 2 cards. So let me just make sure I'm cutting it. All right, so those are the scraps that I'll need for the third and the fourth card. And this one, this is that first piece we cut off, and this one is a 12 by 2 inch piece, and we are going to cut this one into 3-inch segments. Okay. Okay, so let me set this cutter aside. So this one is a 2-inch by 3-inch segment. That will be for one of the cards. These are 1¼ inch by 5-inch segments. These ones are, let me double check. This is a 2½ inch by 3½ inch segment. And then these ones are 5 by 3½ and they're cut on the diagonal. So now let's cut some of the scripty words that are on the cards, and I'm using this bundle, the Crazy About You stamp set and the Hello You Thinlits dies, and in these dies there are all these different words like happy, you, hello, and thanks that you can cut with your Big Shot. And so let's cut those first of all, and got my Big Shot kind of already set up with the words that I need and the colors that I need. So I'm going to be cutting hello, you, and thanks. And what you want to make sure when you're cutting your Thinlits dies, because they're so thin, it's best to use a sheet of wax paper in between the cardstock. So I put down the cardstock color that I want. I put a sheet of wax paper over top, and then I just put my Thinlit right over top of that. And I've already got my cutting plate on top of my magnetic platform. And I'm going to take my other cutting plate and put it on top. And then you just go ahead and run it through the Big Shot. Let me get this Big Shot out of the way here. And let me lift this up. And so we've got the word you. And let me just throw that out. And we've got the word hello. Okay. And we've got the word thanks. Thanks has already decided to come right out. So let me just kind of pop that out. Okay, then we can stick this platform aside. And what I do is I use my piercing tool, and you'll notice on the front here there'll be some spots with the loops of the letters, and I like to go through and kind of poke those out first. And then there's these little holes, so it allows you to kind of use your piercing tool to get in there, and that helps release the word right out of there. So here's thanks, and you'll notice that just in my little A right here, like a little piece stuck, so I'll just use my piercing tool to poke that out. Isn't that easy and fast? So there's thanks. Oh, and if you get some of the wax paper will sometimes stay in there, so you just make sure you get that out before you cut it through one more time. Okay, and then we've got the hello. Go ahead and pop those bigger pieces out, and then I start at one end and I just start poking some of the holes just to kind of get a start on releasing it, and then I just carefully pull out the rest. Okay, and this one came out really nicely. Okay, there might still be some wax paper, so you can either go and get that afterwards. Let's see, it is there. There we go. There's the wax paper coming out. Okay, and then last but not least, the U. So just poke some of those, and then I'm just going to start poking on the end, and that will release my U. And the wax paper this time stuck right to the U, so it will release. It's just clinging to it there. Okay, and then let's just put that aside and let me get rid of these tiddly bits. Okay, so now we've got our little words, and now I'm going to need some embellishments. So I've got This is the stamp. It's this stamp right here from the Crazy About You stamp set. And I am just going to go ahead and stamp that in crushed curry. And we're just going to, this is just a scrap piece of Whisper White. Just going to stamp that. Now, you will need to stamp that 4 times. So, and then we're going to switch to another color. So I've already pre-stamped this 4 times. And then you're also going to need to stamp it in Blushing Bride. So this is my Stampin' Scrub. So whenever you need to switch colors, this is the fastest way to do it. In your craft room, you don't have to run to a sink. You scrub on one side, you put the mist on one side, you scrub it, and then you dry it on the other side. And there's some little raindrops right here that shows you that's the side you're supposed to spray on. So spray a couple sprays, and you can clean, and you can dry. And then your stamp is ready to use in a new color, and it doesn't muddy up your ink pads. So here's my Blushing Bride. Put my crushed curry away, and ink that up, and stamp it. And now this one you'll have to stamp 3 times, and I've already done that, so we're good to go. And put the Blushing Bride ink pad away. And then I'm going to be using 3 of the scallop punches, the 1 3/4 inch punch, the 1 1/4, and the 7/8. And so let's start off with the Blushing Bride, and we're going to punch one of them out of the largest punch, and that is like the 1 3/4 inch punch. So we're actually going to do it at full size. Okay, that's the nice thing about these punches is you can line them up in the window. And then we're going to punch one using the 1 1/4 inch punch. And I just try and line up where the scallop dips down. I'll line that up with one of my white lines. So it gives me a place to kind of aim my punch to, and then I want this centered right in the middle. That white dot should be in the center. And then we're going to punch one more time with a 7/8 inch punch, and the same thing, I'm going to line it up with a little dips down right going on to those little white lines, and then I'm just going to make sure that that is centered before I punch it. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with the crushed curry. So I'm going to need 1 of the largest, 1 of the medium, just kind of lining it up in the window. Actually, I'm going to need 2 of the medium. And then finally, just 1 of the smallest ones, like that. Okay, and now we've got all the pieces that we need stamped that get stuck on there. And now we need to get our Whisper White note cards and envelopes. And you probably already know why I like these, because they're pre-cut and pre-scored. And they come with an envelope, so it's a nice package. There are 20 note cards in a package, and I'm giving you a sheet that is cut up into 20 pieces. So you will use up this whole package of note cards. So when you're done, you're going to have 20 cards that you can use right away. And so if you don't have these note cards, you could cut a piece of cardstock to 7 inches by 5 inches and then score it in half at the 3.5 inch mark. But this is just so easy. You've got your matching envelopes and they come in a package of 20. It just is a no-brainer to me. So let me grab a few more of these so I'm not always reaching over. And okay, so I've got my note card. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do the very first one. So this one, we're going to do the thanks. So we're going to need one of these strips from my pile. And this is going to go on here just like that. So I like to put the piece of paper kind of on there, but I don't like to go ahead and glue it on first, because just in case I make a mistake with my stamping, I could still put a whisper weight piece over top of here and fix my mistake. But once I've glued down my paper, it'll be a lot harder to fix. So let me grab, I need the So Much stamp, and this is Night of Navy ink. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up, and I'm just going to ink this or stamp this right down here at the bottom like that. And this time I didn't mess up. We'll see if I mess up at all during this time. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my Tombow glue and just do a really, really light layer of glue. And then I'm just going to line this up just above my So Much. Okay. Just glue that on, and I'm going to take my thanks. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to put little dots of glue in strategic places. So at the bottom and the top of each letter, I'm just going to put a little dot. And it doesn't have to be exact. You just want a dot here, a dot there. Okay. And then you're going to take this and you're going to put it right up near the top, like so. And just kind of tap it down, make sure it's stuck down. And then we'll need one of these yellow, small yellow ones. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that. That's a lot of glue. Don't put that much. That just came out on me rather quickly. And then we'll need a rhinestone, my piercing tool, and I'm going to grab one of these larger rhinestones and we'll just pop that right on like that. And that is card number 1. Okay, and now let's grab another note card. And this time we are going to we'll do the other one with the long strip. Okay, this is the 1 1/4 inch by 5 inch strip, and we are going to do this card right here, the Many Thanks card. Let me scoot this up here so we can see it a little better. So this time I'm going to grab my Many Thanks, and I'm going to use the exact same ink as before, the Night of Navy, and this time I'm just going to stamp this down here near the bottom. Okay, I did okay this time too. So then I'm just going to go ahead and glue this one on right here, and maybe like a quarter, maybe a little bit more than a 1/4 inch from the midpoint. Just kind of glue that on like that. And then we're going to take one of the big yellow ones and one of the medium ones. I'm just going to glue them together like that and kind of get it centered. And then we're going to glue this on to the center like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take a rhinestone and pop it on like that. Okay, for now, I'm not actually creasing the folds on these. Okay, so that is my next one. And now we're going to do this one right here, this one that has hello on it. So I'll need another note card. And this time we're going to stamp sunshine at the bottom. So let me just pop this on here where I want it. And then grab sunshine. Isn't that cute? Hello, sunshine. I like that. That's kind of an all-purpose type of card. Okay, that one turned out okay too. So let me go ahead, and this one, I just want to glue on to the center, just dead center of the card. With the Tombow, you have a few seconds to kind of straighten it out if you're crooked. And then again, we're going to take this little hello, and I'm just going to put a little dot top and bottom kind of each letter. You may skip some letters, but you kind of just want some little points for your glue to anchor onto your card. And I'm just going to stick this on. Doesn't this green one look nice too? I really liked the blue because that was the first one that I saw, so I wanted to work with it. But then I thought, it would be boring if I did the blue one again, but like, aren't these turning out cute? So then I'm going to grab the last crushed curry kind of medallion or flower, and that's my pretend sunshine up at the top. We'll stick that there and grab another one of these rhinestone jewels and pop that up there. All right, so now we just need to let's do one of the diagonal cards. And you know what? I'm going to do the diagonal in the opposite direction so you can see what that looks like in case you get some going in both directions. And I need another couple of note cards. Okay, so let me take one of these, and I'm just going to lay this down where it's going to go, right on the corner, so I get the idea of the angle. And then let me grab my happy birthday, and I'm going to ink this up here. Let me bring it closer to me. I'm going to ink it up in the navy ink. And this time, you know what, I think I'm going to put, rather than putting it down here at the bottom, maybe I'm going to put it up here at the top. Let's see how that looks. I'll put the happy birthday down at the bottom, but I'll put the medallion up at the top. Okay, I'm doing okay with my stamping so far. Let me see if I can make it through all 5. Okay, and so then we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue these two guys together. The smallest and the largest blushing bride. I'm just kind of offsetting the white swirls a little bit. And oops, we need to glue this piece down. Okay. We just put this right along the edge. Get it straight. Okay. And then let me glue my flower on here. Like that. See, that looks cute, like either way. You know, you can have it coming up or coming down. And then we need another rhinestone. So let me grab one of these. Pop that on there. Okay. And then the last card is this one, the Thinking of You card. And let me grab one of these pieces. This is my 3.5 by 2.5 inch piece. I'll need a note card. Let me put these ones away for a second. And then I'm going to put this one right in the center. And then this is the Night of Navy ink again. And this time I need the Thinking of. All right. This is my last stamp. Let's see if I can stamp this on the note card without messing up. Let me see, come in. Oh, not too bad. So if I did mess up, say I messed this layer up, I could go ahead and cut myself a piece of 3.5 by 5.5 inch Whisper White. I could re-stamp it, and then I could just adhere it right over the top of this layer. And then you can still use the note card base. The reason I like to use the actual note cards is they are a little thicker than our regular Whisper White, so they're a little bit more substantial, they're easier, they're better for mailing purposes, okay? So that's why I wouldn't just cut a Whisper White card. I actually like the note cards better because they are thicker. So that's what you would do if you would make a mistake. But I didn't, so let me go ahead, and that was lucky because while I was putting the cards together, I did goof up twice and had to cover things up. So just so you know, I'm not perfect either when I'm stamping. Sometimes the stamps, especially on word stamps when they're small, you can make a little mistake, like you might get a shadow, or you might stick your thumb in the Night of Navy pad and end up with a thumbprint on the side or something weird like that. So you know some of this is fixable. Okay, so let me glue that, and then I've got my U, and again I'm going to just take it and I'm going to put some strategic dots, top, bottom, top, and just keep putting some glue on there just to get it to stick on there. And let me angle it to the bottom right here. It's just going to kind of come off the side, stick, and then I've got this Blushing Bride medallion. And I'm going to stick it right up top here. This just kind of gives flow to the card because you're thinking of you, and you'll see this down here and it will attract your attention down to the U. And then I'll just need a rhinestone to put on there. Very cool. Okay, so let me just show you real quick. I've got these green ones made, and so I'm just going to go ahead and just going to take my bone folder and go over the edge twice to get the crease actually folded so they'll stay closed, so you can see the new ones, the green versus the blue. The green paper I think is equally pretty. It's very springy. But you can see how you can take this piece and you'll have all the extra pieces and you can make the rest of the cards. I'm just showing you the 5 designs, and you will make 4 of each of these designs. And there are those cards. And then those are the ones that are in green. And then here are the ones, let me see if I can match them up, in blue. And we got the many thanks. Oh, let me see if I can find the rest of them. Oh, I've got this one, the angled one, the many thanks one. Oh, we already got a many thanks one, and the thinking of you. Do I have everything matched up? Okay, this one and this one. And this one and this one. So, I mean, you can see, like, it's just really beautiful. It's really easy, and you can make these cards out of one sheet of designer series paper and a package of 20 note cards, and there you have 20 beautiful designs that you can use for your all occasion cards. All the supplies you'll need to make these cards will be available for purchase on my blog. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye-bye for now.